I haven't got the YouTube open, so I'm going to assume we're live.
We're live.
Fantastic. So, look, some of you will know that are watching that off air, the rest of us all have chats. And we tend to talk in Discord and other places. But the Discord I've set up as a place for anyone that's interested in being on the show to access the links each week for the studio for when we go live. And in that, we also talk about potential topic discussions and often go off on tangents as well. So I'm saying that up front because I know I say this a lot, but if anyone's watching who's keen to have a chat with us and come on air, or maybe you think you want to, but you're not certain yet, let me know and I'll drop you in the Discord. I'll send you a link and you can see what we're chatting about, and then you can just join in if you want. We might even have someone else join us a bit later on. But I was just saying to Scott, who missed the chat that we were having earlier, Owen recently 3D printed a file of a tool that is a fret polishing tool. And I'm going to share that with you in a moment. But we think that tool may have originated, or the inspiration for it originated from something completely different. So let me share, if it's all right, share the screen of the original tool. We can talk a bit about that because Mark's used it. And then we can talk about the upgraded version and what we think about maybe people copying other people's tools, making them for free. Or as actually, Mark, you had a video the other day about the Frtlzr fret press, which has been copied by Temu in a cheap version. And I'm sure you had quite interesting opinions on that, I thought, in your video. I'm sure we got into that in a moment. I should say first, hello, everyone.
Hello.
So I've got overexcited by just hitting go live and wanting to chat. So I'm going to try and share this screen. Here we go. So it is a company that I know, as I just mentioned, Mark has made a video about their stuff, but I know that other people that we've had on here before use their products a lot. Like Paul from Mildhouse Studios was always using his Frtlzr. Sorry, Mark tried to teach me how to say it before.
I have no clue. I'm going to pronounce it Frtlzr.
Frtlzr. Yeah. When I say it, I feel like I'm from the West Country. It doesn't mean anything to you, review. But you go.
Yeah, so this company,
I
wish I knew where they were from. I don't remember where they're from. I want to say like somewhere in Europe, but who knows?
They're a German company.
German, there you go. And they had this really well-designed tool that fits in the palm of your hand. And it is not 3D printed. It is like injection molded or something. It's a really nice looking tool. And you just basically wrap several different types of grits of paper around it. You hold it down with the rubber band and you just basically go at your fret, grit by grit. And the way it works is it's got a groove on the bottom of it that kind of conforms to the shape of the crown of the fret. And you're able to kind of tilt it on its axis to get the very, very edges, like the bottom edge of the fret that touches the board on both sides, just by tilting the actual device. It's actually does a really good job because it's just sandpaper. Basically, you're going through the grits, but it's got the rubber band that you're using to hold down the actual grit of paper. I don't know much about the actual one that Owen pointed out, and I haven't watched that video, but maybe you could talk about that.
Oh yeah, I'll show that in a minute. So this is the video of you using it here.
Mm-hmm.
So quick question about it then, because obviously it's flat. It's not radius to match the frets.
It's a flat tool, yes.
But how solid is it?
Extremely solid. It is very well made and very well designed too. Yeah.
Yeah, as Barry's pointed out, they do a spot leveler, which actually Mark mentions in this video earlier on. The spot leveler, the one that Stu Mac make, is quite expensive. I think I paid 120 quid for it or 100 quid for it, but I use it a lot. I think it is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And their one, again, like this, is plastic or injection molded and uses sandpaper instead of the diamond file on it, and seems to be pretty good for the massive reduction in costs. It's not a necessarily massive reduction in quality, from what I gather. Anyway, that is the Frtlzr version. There we can see it. And as Mark used it, Mark, it looked like you wrapped a band around it to hold the paper
It
in place.
comes with a band, yeah. So it actually comes with a kit, and the kit is composed of some very good, like I guess it's like automobile grade sandpaper, which is like very high grit. So you get into like the 2000s, 3000s, 5000s, and it comes with a very thick rubber band to come around it. It comes with the that fret shield that wraps around the fret so you don't scratch your board. It comes with a lot of stuff in the kit.
Neil has just mentioned what's wrong with getting a hot finger, as in you just use the sandpaper with your finger behind it. I actually use they're micro mesh pads, but they look like nail files. So it's one long. I haven't got one handy. It's one long file, and on each side and each end there's a different grades. There's 4 grades on it. It's just like an emery board, so they're kind of disposable. And I've got them in a few like 10 in a pack or whatever. I think they're amazing.
I like those. I've used them too. I think they're great.
I like the flexibility of them to go over the fret. Scott, when you polish your frets, what do you use?
For actual polish, hot finger generally. I after GGBO, the GGBO that got 3rd place,
Sorry,
I got some fret rubbers from them, and I've used those quite a bit. I don't know how much I like them, but yeah, hot finger with paper, and eventually like quadruple lot steel wool.
let me just hide the screen share for a moment. Sorry, Dan, I missed you there because with the screen share it bumps everyone down. I didn't see you were waiting, but welcome.
So yeah, I had some technical difficulties getting the thing working. But there you go.
Fantastic. If anyone hasn't met Dan before, we have an archive which will be in the description, which I haven't updated yet for this video. And in it, you can see Dan's been on a couple of times talking about sort of hybrid building, a bit of CNC, a bit of hand work and stuff. But you also 3D print it as well. Is that right?
Yeah. I've been doing a lot more 3D printing lately, to be honest.
Fantastic. Well, in case you missed at the beginning, we were just looking at this tool that you can buy, and we're going to compare it to a tool that Owen just mentioned to us online that you can 3D print. And Dan, did you say you 3D printed one?
Yeah, I printed it today. There it is.
Look at this. So Dan can give us a highlight of it. Oh, obviously, I presume you haven't had a chance to use it yet.
No, I haven't. No.
Look at that.
But, yeah, I mean, basically, you load some paper in there, and then the thumb wheel on the side will move the paper along. So, you know, and this, I probably see it. The tip there is like rounded. You probably just about see.
Yep.
To go over the fret, which is exactly like the Frtlzr, really.
Just like the Frtlzr, but with the little thing to wind the paper on.
Yeah.
And as someone in our Discord pointed out, I can't remember who it was, it might have been you, that could be a pain for changing the grade, but maybe just print multiple ones. What I'll do is I'll share on the screen while we're chatting the video from the next project, who are the person that designed it and made it, and in the description you can download the file that Dan's printed off. I should have printed one myself today. I spent 2 hours trying to fix my 3D printer. There you go.
You know, he was in GGBO.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I think he was in the first one, maybe the second one.
It's 2020, I think.
He did the first one, definitely. I think he might have sort of
I used to
not competed in the second one, you know. He just sort of went along with it.
Yeah,
And do you
I used
remember
to. He's fun to watch.
I mean, this video is the first video I think I've watched by him, but clearly I must have watched the Great Guitar Builder ones and forgotten them. And yeah, he's very easy to watch, very compelling. I like the way he talks about his tools. I haven't looked at the other guitar project tools he's got that you can 3D print. Being this is episode 4, I assume that the other episodes aren't iterations of this, but other tools.
When you actually download this, he's got a bunch of other tools in the same Dropbox link that there's like a fretboard radius, routing jig, various other bits and pieces as well.
How do you all feel about that question we sort of touched on earlier? The idea that this tool, the Frtlzr tool, I hadn't seen that before until I saw the Frtlzr one. So I made an assumption that that was their design. And this is clearly inspired by that, modeled off that. And how do you feel about someone basically copying something and selling it? Not selling it, giving away for free. Is that better or worse?
That's the kind of the question that I posed, right? Where it's like,
yeah,
clearly it's inspired by the Frtlzr and he's offering it for free. And obviously he improved on the design in some manner. So the question is, I mean, are we okay with that, right? Because I think about it in two ways. Like, this is essentially the way the free market works. This is the way capitalism in the free market works, right? Someone can improve upon a design if they want to. But on the other hand, like, if this was like, if we knew him, if he was our friend, like, I keep thinking about like Todd and Bench Craters, right? Like, if someone else did something similar, took the design, then offered it for free in some manner, like, how would we feel about that? Like, is it just a question of like, is it because we don't know the Frtlzr team in Germany that we're okay with someone doing an open source version, or is it just okay in general? These are just kind of just questions. I don't have an answer, and I don't know how I feel. I'm just kind of wondering how everyone else feels.
I would imagine that the people at Frtlzr would realise that that's a possibility to happen in a way. I mean, their tool is only 3D printed as well, so it's not exactly, you know, it's not exactly complicated, is it? You'd imagine, you know, that's something they would plan for, or at least understand could happen.
I have enjoyed, I guess, having the gray morality around IP, since I never had any IP, that I've been perfectly fine with, you know, pirating software and video games and downloading music my whole life. I don't know. The ethics on this, I don't know. It is pretty simple. I mean, if somebody can design it and print it, I mean, what can you do? And they're not making money on it, so there's no monetary. I guess in theory there are monetary damages because you're losing business that you could have gotten, maybe. But I mean, if it's not making money off of it, it is a little different. How many luthiers? Probably a bunch. In a lot of markets, you could say how many of your potential customers have a 3D printer and know that this exists, so they can do this instead of buy your product. In this particular case with, you know, guitar builders, we tend to be pretty crafty, and a bunch of us have 3D printers too. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to anything. Like, I don't have an answer either. And I just recently saw, like, I know we were talking briefly about the fractal fret press. There's yet another iteration. I saw one called like the Octopus or something. Like, it's like a variant of that fractal fret press, but it's clearly like inspired by it. And I'm wondering, like, I mean, it's just so strange because, I mean, Jay Edwards has like a patent pending on his. So I'm curious how these other companies are jumping into this arena.
One thing about having a patent on something and owning it and producing it and other people copying you is, can you afford to take anyone to court? I've got a tangential story about that, but just first of all, I want to say this is a sanding block that I printed. I've been making files of these. Like, who owns that? Who owns that design? I mean, I made that design, but it's not a very original idea, is it? We've all seen a million people do that before. At what point does something not become that original? And I was just mentioning off air as well. I'm meeting someone in a couple of days who I met online because he saw a guitar that he thought was one that I'd built, but someone else had built it based on my design. And it happens all the time. people copy designs or inspired by designs. I feel like there are slightly different markets. As soon as you put something out there that you've made, there's the chance it's going to be used in some way by someone else or inspire someone else. And some of those inspires might be direct rip-offs and some might not be. But like Mark said, that one's an injection molded version. You buy it from a website that sell lots of other injection molded tools that all look pretty good quality and are really interesting designs. And yeah, you can 3D print something, but it might feel different to the injection molded one. One thing Mark said that I thought was really interesting about the fractal press in your video when you were looking at the Temu one was you tried that out, the Temu one, and you could see how good it was. The fractal press, not necessarily the Temu one, the fractal press, and that made you want to go and buy the original one because you knew that would be better quality as well as supporting the original idea.
I'm not like the gateway drug to the J. Edwards fractal press because you can spend $13 on AliExpress or Temu, right? And then you kind of realize, oh, I get the fractal. I understand why people like it. I get the hype. And then I just went out and bought the J. Edwards. I have it right. I have actually 3. I have them right here. So I have this one, which is the fractal J. Edwards, right? And then this one is the $45 Amazon one, and they are identical in every way possible. $45, $289. And then I have the Temu one, which is I paid $13 for it on AliExpress. And it's kind of janky, but it absolutely 100% works. So yeah, I mean, there's like a whole lot of stuff out there, alternatives, different price points. But really the question is, do you support Chinese counterfeits or do you support the original designer? I mean, it's really, like Scott said, is this gray area, and I really don't know how to navigate it.
Well, see, those 3 examples are all completely different. Because when you brought up radius sanding block, I'm like, oh, I mean, that puts it in context because that's a simple thing. Everybody has them. I've seen people make them. I've made 1 or 2. It's a simple enough design that when you buy one from somebody, they're super proud of those damn things, even the wooden ones. But then, you think about the aluminum. So in that particular case, it's more about the materials that it's made out of. And just how much precision you think goes into, that tool. And the Frtlzr, I think, is kind of in that neighborhood because it would not be that difficult to make one. Building a file that you can 3D print is kind of in the neighborhood of that. This, the fret press, that's a little different. There's a little more complication there. That it's clearly, ideas that somebody put into play that somebody is definitely, stealing. Again, kind of comes down to materials, quality of build, maybe, I guess.
I think when you do something really inspirational like that fret press, the J. Edwards one, it's going to trigger people who are creative to want to use it, and people that build tools will be inspired by it. Like this one you just mentioned, the octopus one, I've just looked it up. You can see there's some differences on it. It's got wider bits at the end. It's got some sort of give horizontally, so the feet can move and expand out.
Yeah, so now you can use it for guitar, for bass, for extended range instruments. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw just now, I don't know if you saw Mark, Ty in the comments said he knows J. Edwards, and there is another version, a more modern version. But I noticed from your comments in your video that J. Edwards lives quite local to you, potentially. Which I thought
he's about an hour away. He's somewhere in Texas, about an hour away from me, yeah.
I want to just talk about something that Ty, Shot the Fox, just said, which was my rule of thumb is if it feels wrong, it probably is. There are actual people and families that are behind these products. So I just want to go back to that 3D printed radius block that I just had. I started making those. Yeah, and I'll get onto yours one in a minute. The one I had, the really boring one. I started making those because discuss making 3D files when we make them for ourselves, just putting them out there. Mark, you said like for $1 each, people buy it. It's just a little bit of income in the background. And I thought I might as well do that. I'm constantly making things. Let me make a few. And I was doing a lot of traveling in the summer, back and forth, sitting in cafes waiting to start work and start jobs. So on my laptop, I was designing those sort of standing blocks and things. And I started thinking, where do I stop? Like, I'll design these things that are really common. People might go to the website and download them. I'll put them in with the things that I've made for myself, which I think are slightly unique or have met my needs. But I was thinking about some of the Frtlzr stuff and thinking I don't want to, for example, do their fret rocker that's got the sanding paper in the middle, because that's clearly, if I did that, that's clearly ripping off their idea. And that's a good idea and they should have it, even though their idea, I think, is ripped off of the Stu Mac one. It's just like a basic version of the Stu Mac one. It's like,
yeah, where does it end? Where does it begin?
Yeah.
And I think early on, like, I'm an old punk, right? So it's like, I hate the idea of like gatekeepers. And at first, early on, I was like, oh man, Stu Mac is so expensive. I'm a membership with Stu Mac, right? So I get, like, I'm all in. But then, you know, early on, it was just like, it's really cool that we have like this arena of 3D printing where we can kind of like, basically it's the great equalizer, right? So now you don't need $300 to like buy an expensive tool. You could like print one out. And I know this is going somewhere, right? I mentioned this because I guess one of my strong suits is design, right? I can design anything. And so I did design a fractal fret press in CAD as an exercise, right? Can I do it? I did it. And then can I 3D print it? I can 3D print it. I can build it, right? So the question is, like, where am I at? Like, why did I do it? I don't know. For kicks and giggles, I'm not sure. But like you said, there's like this, if it feels wrong, it must be wrong, like Ty said. And I'm feeling that, and that's why I posed the question. So it's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm really happy with my like Chinese overseas fractal presses. I'm really happy. And I'm really happy with my J. Edwards. Like, I love it. But like, where do you draw the line? Where's that line, Daniel?
so I'm going to ask the other Dan. Dan, you've got the physical thing that we were talking about that you printed out there.
I've got both, actually.
Oh, nice. Look at that. Right. So my question was going to be, what's it? I appreciate you haven't used it yet, but what does it physically feel like? Does it feel like something you're going to use and want to use? And does it feel like it's a good tool?
Well, I certainly use the Frtlzr quite a bit. It does feel a lot sort of more flimsy than that, certainly. And I think that's part of the design, really, isn't it? With the sort of flexible sides that you've got to it. I don't know how well it would last either, as well, to be honest. But I think it will work just as well, though, to be honest. Can't see why it wouldn't. I don't think it's as comfortable either. This one is it's sort of like got contours to fit in your hand nicely and whatnot, which obviously doesn't. But yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know about you. You printed in red. I like printing my tools in my workshop in colours that I have a theme.
It was just the
and
cheapest
stand
thing
out
I'd
amongst
had.
the sawdust. But there's something about that adds an extra element to it, I think. Makes it my tool.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, you could customise it to suit your own taste. Yeah, I just print in whatever's cheapest, really. So, like, I got that red filament for like £10 on Amazon, so...
Fair enough. Barry's asked, when does a tool become public ownership? Mentioned screwdrivers and things. Do you all know the history of different types of screws? And the is it in Canada they have the Robertson screw? Is it called the Robertson screw? And it's a square screw head as opposed to a cross or a slot, or the posi drive one. And it's really, really good. And I think the Robertson screw, I might be getting this slightly wrong. One of them, I think it was the Robertson one, was one of the first developed screws that was put into mass production, but refused to sell it to Ford motor cars to let them use it. And as a result, they basically got pushed out of the market because Ford took on some other one. I'm assuming it was probably the Phillips head cross one. And because they used that and had to mass produce them, they became the sort of go-to thing. This is a rubbish anecdote. I'll find the YouTube video about it and I will share it next week. But I saw an amazing YouTube story about the history of all of this.
I have always meant to look up the history of this because just on the off chance I do get a time machine, I wouldn't kill Hitler, but I would go back and beat the crap out of the dummy that made the flathead screw. It's a nightmare to deal with. Why? Why are these still around?
I thought I could really find the answer to show you all. History of early and modern screws. The Robertson screw was invented in 1908. Anyway, whatever. This is going to be a crap story. What I did want to tell you though was I know that there are some other guitar builders like me that are into Warhammer and model painting, and I remember a few years ago this whole debate about ownership and patents being a big thing within a particular company that makes stuff for Warhammer painting. And basically what they would do is they would sell their products, including things that wash your brush. So a little cup, you get your brush in, the water swirls around, you get clean water each time you put your brush in. Really simple plastic thing. And they brand them themselves, but they don't make them. They're OEM products that they make. But they stole the design off of someone else, had them mass produced, and then took out the patent on it because whoever originally designed it only had the patent in one country. And now this company have the market of it and they sue other people and get them taken off Amazon, etc., for using their products. And there's multiple products that they've done that with. So that the original designers and owners, because they didn't have a big enough legal team to make the patent across the world, were just kind of forced out of being able to make their products successful, and in some cases even stopped selling their products in the countries that they originally originated them in. And it was just an example of a ruthless company just trying to steal the market on everything. And is it different when, in this case, with the Frtlzr thing, someone may be making the same thing or a better version of the thing, but they're giving it away for free? And they're not like going to steal the original design from someone. I don't know if, because one of the things that I love about the 3D printing world is how many files are open for you to remix in some way. So you can take the original file, redesign it, as long as you credit the original person on it. So what I'm getting at is it different if someone does it for free and isn't trying to make money out of it? And should you credit the original person?
Right. So I think that scenario you just mentioned about remixing is different because it begins as open source. It's like remixable. So therefore you may remix it. I think the Frtlzr concept is different when it didn't start off as open source and someone improved upon the idea or modified it in some manner and now is giving it away for free as open source.
I guess it could be like open source software versus paid software, couldn't it? Examples of that. There's certainly cases where someone's made a paid piece of software that's been, someone's created an open source version of, and something like Photoshop or something. It's had that happen, hasn't it?
There's a lot of examples of that. You're right. Yeah, we don't see like Photoshop and Adobe busting down doors, right?
Well, in some sense, it sort of pushes Adobe to make it better, doesn't it? And do something that makes it worth the money.
But with software, there are lots of things you can do to keep people from, having any access to the source. Or with an STL file, it's a file, and anybody can take that and modify that any way they want to. You can have a license that says you can't do that without, these stipulations. but there's no way to actually stop them from doing it. But that's a little bit different than taking somebody's thing and modeling it and printing it. So I don't. There's a lot of gray areas around a whole lot of these things. But talking about the Fret Press made me think about, you know, the difference between a Floyd Rose and a Chinese knockoff. You know, looking at actual guitar hardware, because I mean, starting off, I used a lot of cheap stuff, and when you finally get to where you can use some higher quality stuff, that quality is exceptionally evident, you know. But that's a more complicated piece of machinery than, you know, a block.
That's a great example, Scott. The Floyd Rose. You're right. Like, there is no comparison between an original, like one made in Germany, and then a knockoff. Like, you can't compare the two.
And they're so expensive.
And you can get knockoffs that claim to be originals when you buy on Amazon.
Yeah. So I think there's a spectrum of dirty shadiness, you know, between I kind of like that. I want to design something and print it, and hey, this works pretty well. I might as well share it with some people, up to, you know, trying to produce knockoff junk and present it as if it were the real deal. Or, you know, blatantly screwing other companies over because they can't afford to fight you. I don't know. I'm not sure I'd turn this into a bigger fish to fry argument, but, you know, because each of these needs to be evaluated ethically. But I think all of us are having trouble actually doing that.
So the third scenario, so here we have two scenarios, right? Personal use, sale, profit. The third scenario is modeling it and then letting it out to the open for free, which is what we have over here with this tool, which is they made it open source. Like, that's the third scenario. That's pretty gray also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know, I feel bad because I haven't actually looked into enough of that video to know if he has talked about this whole issue. I don't remember.
It doesn't in the video, no.
No.
I don't know. He doesn't even mention the Frtlzr at all in the video, actually. So I'm not. I assume he knows about it because it's so similar. He doesn't.
I mean, at the same time, maybe he doesn't.
Could have seen it
It's
and not
possible.
known that it was a company that made it. I don't know.
It's possible.
But I know in our little community, how many times have you gone and looked for, you know, a tool or jig or something that, you know, somebody, so many guitar tools are things that you can make on your own. I mean, my fret slotting jig, I mean, you know, there's radius router sleds and things like that. There are a lot of good ideas out there that, you know, somebody came up with, and we, you know, have tried to attribute the idea to, you know, and a lot of times in video you're just saying, I saw somebody do this. I didn't invent it. I can't think of who it was. And if someday I ever discover it, I'll put it in the comments, you know. I don't know.
Barry's just mentioned in the chat that in that video he did say it was like his 17th version of it. But then I feel like that's just the iteration, because I've been doing a lot of 3D printing for jigs and parts that I'm using on my guitars and related things, and almost everything takes 5 attempts minimum before I get it right, because it is so easy just to print a version and then see if it's right and then make a change, as opposed to trying to visualize it on a screen. Or it's just like, if I was making something in wood, I'd probably make a few versions first.
To see the idea, design it, print it out, use it for yourself, personal use, I don't see any problem with that whatsoever.
Perfectly fine. Yeah.
Releasing it to the world, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I would feel bad about it, but I might, you know, if somebody yelled at me later, be a little more introverted about it. I mean, you know, actually look at inward and, I don't know, was that a good idea? Was it bad? I don't.
Have I told the story of when I made very early on when I was first started making guitars? I don't think I was very aware of cigar box guitars, but I had that basic idea of putting a guitar neck onto a thing, like a cigar box. But I wanted the thing to be an everyday thing that was around, so I was sticking them on Sega Mega Drives and stuff like that, and I stuck it on a Star Wars Millennium Falcon. And then when I did that, I then put some pictures of it, and then discovered lots of people have done that. It wasn't very original. And then someone contacted me and said, "Oh yeah, I do those as well." And I'm totally inspired by this guy who did the original ones, and he linked me to the guy who did the original ones who made other things. And then a couple of months later, I got a cease and desist from the person that linked me to the original ones, saying, "Oh yeah, I've now taken out the patent on it for the UK for making these things." I was like, "But you told me you were inspired by the particular person that did it first, and now you're trying to claim that you own the copyright."
Patent law is just ridiculous, really. It's so broken.
It doesn't make sense.
It's dirty.
Did you ever intend on making more of those, Daniel?
I think I made 4 of them. I can't remember, or 3 of them. I've got one here, and I sold 2. And I don't like making the same thing over and over again, except every time I made that, I was just improving on how I made it a bit. I always thought if someone else wanted one, I'd make another one and improve it a bit. Like the Sega Mega Drive one, someone asked for one of those a couple of years ago, so I made another one, and I changed the electronics on it a bit and the way it was built internally, and it was a bit better than the original ones. But I never thought it'd be a business. He was making a business out of it. That was his thing. Which seems a bit weird as well, but there you go. Hey, let's talk about woodworking. Mark told us off there that he'd just been to the what was it? The Texas Woodworking Festival?
Texas Woodworking Festival. Yes, I went there yesterday. Evidently, it's a thing that happens every year here in town. I didn't know. Like, how did I not know? So I heard about it. It's like a 4-day event. They have like this education tier, like a VIP tier, where there's like panels and talks. There's like a lot of YouTube, a portion of it. But I went just for the normal, like the booths, like kind of like it's like a NAMM show, but for like woodworking, and everybody was there. So like all the glues, all the paints, all the oil people, all the machines, all the laser people, like it was just everybody was there. So I got to go to like all the different booths and actually interact with people, like, you know, the owners or the company, and get samples. So I walked away with a lot of swag, which is really cool. Got to hold a lot of tools that I never held before. Got to see, you know, flagship CNC machines that I'd never seen before. They had like giant woodworking machines too that I don't even know what they do. I mean, every kind of like plane and chisel. I mean, I'm not into planes and chisels. Like, it's not my thing. But if that was your thing, I mean, it was just like, for as long as your eye could see, planes and chisels. A lot of like local like companies too. So there was a lot of people from Texas who had their own businesses that built tools, saws, things like that, hammers. So like a lot of that was represented as well. I was really happy to have gone. I got to meet Carbide 3D, the folks there. They're the brand that owns my CNC. So I got to see Winston Moy. He's like a famous YouTuber, pretty much. Got to talk with him. I got to see the flagship CNC that I might upgrade to. It was gigantic. There were these 2 blue transparent tubes coming off the spindle, and I'm like, I touched them like, hey, what the heck is that? Is that like air assist? And he's like, no, that's the water cooling system. They apparently have a water-cooled spindle on their CNC, and I had no idea that even existed. So like, I'm like way behind in terms of like the CNC world and the technology. You know, technology just basically increases exponentially, and it's really easy to kind of have like ancient equipment that still works, but like to get left behind. So I'm really thinking about upgrading. I got to see a lot of like lasers, fiber lasers. I'm really into fiber lasers now. Because like, I mean, I did the diode laser thing, but like fiber lasers are really, really cool. CO2 lasers. I'm just like, it was really inspiring just to walk around, and it was like in a really nice part of town, right by the lake, really beautiful event center. So it was just a great time. And it's like, it's nothing to me. Like it took me like 10 minutes to get there and 10 minutes back. So I'm really lucky to have gone, and I can't wait till next year. I recommend
What's a fiber laser?
It's a laser that works on a different frequency of light. So it's specifically for metals. So
Right.
instead, like typically with a normal like laser at whatever like nanometer frequency, the material either absorb that light or heat or bounce off. Fiber lasers and CO2 lasers have a different frequency, which basically will like you could have like a highly reflective surface and it'll still cut it or engrave it or whatever.
Yeah,
But I like the idea of like
stainless steel ones. So yeah, they must be one like that.
Yeah. Anyway, Scott, highly recommend it next year. You should come.
I had no idea this thing existed, or I would have tried.
You know, there's big woodworking shows in England, and I never think of going, but maybe I should.
Just for the swag, it's worth it.
Yeah, just
Like I was telling the guys, I don't have to worry about wood glue or tongue oil for a year. Like I have that much that I got from the show. Like, stickers, magnets, pencils, notebooks, magazines. Like I got so much swag. It was so cool.
There's a Comic Con
awesome.
coming up down the road to me in a few weeks' time, literally 5 minutes drive away. So I'm going to go to that. I've never been to one before, but I'm going to it because I want to check it out and see how viable it is for me to maybe have a stand there one year, because to put some sort of sci-fi guitars up. I don't know, but I'm also very intrigued to see what comic conventions like. You can get tickets when you buy your ticket to go in. You can also pay extra to join the queues to get signings with various members of the Red Dwarf cast and Doctor Who. But I'm not going to do that.
Red Dwarf, that's old school.
Then
Yeah,
you start
Daniel.
costume junk.
yeah. I can't wait to see the costumes. We were going to go as a whole family, but unfortunately, a birthday party has come up that the kids will go to instead. So I might go on my own. Never mind. Hey, look, while we're here as well, Dan, I haven't spoken to you properly for a while. Are you up to much with guitar-wise at the moment?
Mostly it's been the 3D printing stuff, playing around with that. But yeah, and that's sort of prototyping ideas really. That's what I've been up to then.
So I've misremembered. Last time we talked, were you 3D printing, working on 3D printing acoustic, or was it CNCing something?
That's what I've been doing lately. Trying to get a fully 3D printed acoustic working.
Right.
Got a ukulele working now, and I've got the
mate.
structure working of a guitar, but there's a few little bits to fix on it.
So I won't hound you until you've finished your guitar to get you back on to talk about it. But with a ukulele, because I'm not really 100% sure how they're built, do they have, when you have a wooden ukulele, for example, does it still have bracing and stuff on the inside like a mini acoustic?
It's
And have you had to
essentially
do
a mini
that?
acoustic, yeah. But with the 3D printed one, it's quite different how I've done it. It's down here, basically. There you go. It's out there.
Nice.
It's really thin as well.
Very smart.
And I've sort of it's a removable backplate as well, so it's got full access inside.
Nice.
Quite
That
nice.
looks very cool.
That's rad.
And it's see-through.
Yeah,
So you
that
can
is
see the
brilliant.
structure and whatnot.
That's awesome.
How thin is the top?
The top, well, that's another thing. The actual bits in between the sort of bracing, the sort of micro bracing you can see, is about 1 mil. So it's very, very thin and quite lively.
I love the pattern that you've got with the bracing there.
Yeah, works quite nice, and it's on the back plate as well there.
That looks really smart.
With Mac.
And like the fretboard, actually, this was an idea I got from you, Mark, because when you did your resin ones, you sort of cast the frets in, didn't you? I've done that on here, so they're actually printed as part of the neck.
Cool.
It works pretty well, actually.
It's true. I think that when you're using nylon strings, you don't have to go crazy with your fret hardness, right? You don't need steel frets for nylon strings. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is all just PLA. That's why it's nothing special, really.
Don't leave it in the
work
car.
pretty well. Yeah. Well, yeah. If you leave it in the sun too long, it'll sort of destroy itself. But
I never would have imagined that was that big of a problem, but 3 hours in a hot car is enough to ruin some PLA.
We don't have that in the UK.
Yeah.
It'll still damage it over time, though.
Yeah.
Might just take a bit.
What I like though is
I was almost done painting this thing, and left it in the car for like 2-3 hours, and it deformed. I think it was laying on its face, and it kind of smushed. I spent a lot of time with a heat gun trying to put it back into shape, and it never quite got there. I don't know if you can really tell in person. It's really noticeable. It's just flat. It's ruined.
You need to 3D print a thing to go inside it to form the shape on when you heat it now.
Maybe.
But then that would deform when you're putting the heat on. No, that doesn't work.
Well, I don't know. It's what made me stop doing PLA for helmets. But
yeah, I've got to say, for most of the stuff I do now, it's PETG, really, just for that reason. It's just a bit more stable and a bit more resistant to stuff.
And is that what you're using on your guitar?
The last version of the guitar was still PLA, actually.
I haven't done a lot of PETG, but I've started doing ABS since I got the P1P and printed and created an enclosure for it. I can do ABS without a lot of problem, but I want to play with PETG some more.
Yeah, this thing was done in PETG, actually.
I have one roll of clear PETG, but I haven't had a whole lot of use for it up until this point.
It's funny, I got a roll of it when I first got my printer, and I couldn't work out how to set my printer up to print it, that material. It's just sat in a box. But shouldn't be that complicated. It's probably just a button, isn't there? Where you select which...
You just change it to PETG material, in the slice.
I don't know. I'd just forgotten about it. You just reminded me of it because it's a clear one as well. I got a clear one because I thought, that'd be great for printing templates with. Mm-hmm. I've since discovered that when I print the templates, it's obviously got an infill, which is it's not really transparent once you've got the infill.
The clears are only really useful for something like where it's just a wall around the perimeter. When you start having infill, it's just useless, really.
I'm using them for the end of my Ghostbuster guitars, which have lights in them, so they light up. So they work quite well for that. But there you go.
Awesome.
Diffuses the light quite well.
Hey, Daniel, for the last few minutes, can you maybe talk a little bit about your book?
Oh, yeah. Okay, right. Yes. So today I don't know what I can say without... I mean, I'm sure the editors won't be watching. So say I had a chat with one of the editors. I'm going to make the videos public when the book comes out, but I've been making videos for the members of my YouTube channel about the process of writing the book. And as someone that's never written a book before, and I'm sure if you have written a book before, different companies work in different ways, I found it very fascinating, the whole process of it all. And the way this company works is they commission someone to write the book and supply the photos. And then it goes to copy editors who go through it all, check it makes sense, check nothing's missed out. Then it goes to the designer who lays it out using a design brief, which is the company I'm using, ProWood Press. They have a very sort of standard style for their books. So we're now at the stage where it's come back from the designer for the first proof, and there's lots of changes that need to be made. So I wasn't aware of how much work would be involved again with the book. So I spoke to the editor today about it, and there's quite a lot to change, but I think it's all straightforward. So what they need from me is to go through it all and check that all the images and the text sort of fit together. And because I took so many photos and they thought it would work, we realised that actually I need to cut quite a lot of the images out, and some things can be rearranged. So that's all happening, but it needs to be finished, as far as I know, by the end of this month, because then they need to send it to the printers. And then it gets printed during October, and then at the end of October it's sent back to the UK for distribution in the UK. So it's already up for pre-order on Amazon UK. It also then will go to various Amazons in EU, where it's already started to go up. I've been told two different things by the editors now, because there's two editors. One is that it goes to the American Amazon 6 months after it goes to the UK one, because they do the release in Europe and then they push the release out. But the other thing I've heard is it actually will probably get to the Amazon America at the same time. So I don't know what is true or not. But I believe the ebook version goes out everywhere at the same time at the end of January when it's released. But yeah, so I'm in this weird position today where I've got two editors telling me different things. One of them telling me that this is almost the last draft, and I can just make a few changes on it. And the other one saying, no, we've got to make major changes. You're going to get another draft after this. So I don't know what the situation is, but it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. It's just bonkers seeing what I originally had was a couple of 100 pages of text and 1,000 photos that I just emailed across or Dropboxed across, and now I've got back what they call a galley, a basic layout of the book. Yeah, it was great. So there's not much to say other than it's happening. I don't really understand what happens when, but I believe that it's coming out at the end of January, because that's what it says on Amazon, and that's what they're aiming for. And every September, which is why it's now available on Amazon, books that are being published the following year are put onto a list that any publisher can access, so that they know what different publishers, that any one that sells books can access. They know what publishers are releasing. So yeah, hopefully by the end of January it'll be out. The other thing is, if it doesn't go out to America, I think I'll buy some copies, because I can get them cheaper direct from the publisher, and then I can sell them and post them out to people through my website. But I'd rather not do that. I'd rather it just went through places like Amazon, because people buy through Amazon, then it pushes it up the Amazon list more and whatever. And then soon I'm going to be talking to the marketing team, and I'm going to put them in touch with anywhere I know that might sell related things like StuMac, and see. I mean, StuMac won't take it, I don't think, but see if I can get it into their catalogues and things. If anyone's watching who works for a company that sells guitar-based products like paints or things for customizing and upgrading, or StuMac, let me know. But it is exciting.
That's awesome.
Great. Well, look, that was another ramble. It was a bit longer than normal. Thank you, Dan, for joining us. What I'll do in the chat now, and I'll put it in the description when I update it, which it's not going to be till tomorrow morning, I don't think, is I'll put a link to Dan's YouTube channel in case you haven't seen it. Oh yeah, Alan said
there in a long time, but there you go.
Well, it's good to reflect on the things that you've done. Alan's already put pre-order in. Thanks, Alan. Yeah, unfortunately, it won't be a Christmas #1 because it's coming out in January. I was originally hoping, I had this plan that I would get it in everyone's Christmas stockings. I'd send it out to everyone, but no. Yeah. Right, so we're going. As far as I know, we should be doing it every Monday again. I know we've had a few weeks on and off over the summer. I'm not sure who will be on next week. If anyone is watching that wants to come on, please do let me know. Don't forget, in the description there'll be the link to the archive, which has got all the past episodes up. As far as I remember, it'll be the end of this month or the middle of October that all our past 85 episodes will be up, because they're going up 2 a week at the moment. So delve into them. They're hour-and-a-half interviews with different people from the guitar world. Don't forget to subscribe, as Owen always says, and do a like and share and stuff like that. You can tell that I'm not going to be very good at marketing this book. By the way, I'm not very good at marketing the YouTube channel. There you go. All right. Good night, everyone.
Yep.
Take care. Bye.